Look what arrived today, paper pumpkin. And this is the Hello Pumpkin September 2020. So we're going to open and see what we have inside. Cajun Craze is the ink spot. And let me see what we have for our stamps. I see a jack-o'-lantern, a pumpkin, some leaves, maybe a cornucopia, give thanks, hello pumpkin, trick or treat, spooky and sweet, and have a happy Halloween. So we have Thanksgiving sentiments and Halloween sentiments. And then we have Joy to the World talking about next month, which you can order from September 11th through October 10th. And it includes 8 elegant holiday cards and perfect for connecting with people you love during this festive time. So that'll be for next month, Joy to the World. But let's open this month and see what we have. So let me take it out of the box. Okay, I've taken everything out of the box. I'm going to pull the wrapper off and we'll see what we have. So we have some twine, some dimensionals, some glue dots, and then we have materials to make our little cracker box treats. And we have some cats. And some more die-cut decorations. And then we have leaves. We have die-cut leaves that we can take off. And it looks like it's in fall colors. Cajun Craze. I'll look and read and see what all the other colors are. Maybe Daffodil Delight or Bumblebee. And we have some labels. Some flowers and leaves. Okay, we like a witch's hat. So maybe I need to go back and look at our stamp set, because I don't think it's a cornucopia, it's a hat. So here we go. This is a hat and has fall decorations on the hat, which matches up with these hats, which we could make for Halloween, or we could decorate it for fall. And some pumpkins. So we have a lot of pieces in this month. And now let's look at our instructions. So here are the examples. So I will be making a couple of these so you can see how to do that. And then I'll be making some alternatives for you. But remember, inside it does give you step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, and 5. So it gives you directions. And also on the back, our coordinating colors are Basic Black, Bumblebee, Cajun Craze, Cinnamon Cider, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Pumpkin Pie, and White. And it tells you what our kit includes. We have the stamp set, the Cajun Craze Stampin' Spot. We have baker's twine, 20 double-sided cracker boxes, die-cut pieces and labels, laser-cut pieces, dimensionals, adhesive dots, adhesive strips. awesome, and even shows some places you can go online to find more about paper pumpkin there. And it has a few alternatives on the back already for you. Okay, well, let's get started. So the September Hello Pumpkin instructions, you have enough supplies for 20 cracker boxes, but you have a lot of extra supplies with this kit, so you'll be able to also make some cards if you would like to. So you could still make the 20 cracker boxes and still have materials left over to make some cards. So I'm going to make one of the cracker boxes to show you, and then I'm going to show you 4 alternative cards that you might like to make. So I'm going to lay this aside, and I have made one of the cracker boxes, and then I'm going to make one with you. So the Stampin' Spot is the Cajun Craze, as I mentioned earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and use my own Cajun Craze ink pad, and I will be using my own glue dots, although you do have the glue dots in the kit. And I will be using my own dimensionals, although you do have these in the kit also. But I will be using these little strips, these adhesive strips. You will need this to make your cracker box. So I'm going to bring in our cardstock to make the cracker box, and it is 2-sided, so you can choose this side or you can choose this side. And since I chose this side earlier, I'm going to go ahead and we'll make it with this. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and take out these little diamond shape, and of course don't throw these away. You will be able to use these, so save those. I'm thinking maybe you can make a kite. You'll see on one of my cards I did something else with these. So you just take those out. And then basically we're just going to fold on all the score lines. It's already scored for you. So I'm going to be folding in like this because I want the Cajun Craze, and I think this might be pumpkin pie, possibly, on the inside. So you go ahead and you see how I did that, folded that, okay, and then you can go ahead and fold here. So we're going to do it the long way. And then here you're just going to kind of press in, because we'll be putting twine, baker's twine around that. But here, let me show you. So when you go to add your adhesive strip, you want to put it at this edge, at the folded edge. So when you bring this over, it will fasten it. Okay, so I'm going to lay that here, and then I'm going to take one of these strips. So it's sticky on one side. So again, I'm going to lay it guess I have to take off let me peel another one off there. Well, it looks like I took the top of it off, so this is already sticky, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and peel that. I don't think that's going to work, so we will just go ahead. But I need to make sure, so make sure that you have a hold of the adhesive on the bottom, okay? I didn't do that last time, so maybe you can see this. There we go. Okay, and now I can lay it right by the fold. And now we'll take the top off. And then we have our stickies right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold this flap over even with the edge. And instructions say to press on the inside and the outside. It's easy to do it here. Maybe if you have, but I think you can press it down here also. Okay, let me bring in some baker's twine. So I used the dark twine, so I'm going to use the white twine, and this is the little package that comes with your kit that has your glue dots and your dimensionals, and also the adhesive strips will be in there. Okay, so there's a little spot to open it. Here we go, found it right here. Okay, and then I am going to, now we could decorate. I'm just going to go ahead and tie the one, and then we're going to decorate. Snip that. And you can just make a bow. Okay, and now we're ready to decorate. And then I'll fasten the other one. So I'm going to stamp. I'm going to bring in, I'm going to use Trick or Treat, Spooky and Sweet. And I'm going to bring in our Cajun Craze. I'm going to use the little banner and see if I can stamp our sentiment on that. I know it's kind of small, but it looks like it will fit. There we go. Remember to hear that snap on your ink pads, otherwise you don't have them closed all the way. And then I went ahead and picked out, chose some of the decorations. The die cuts are there for you. You just have to go ahead and take them out. And I haven't used this hat, so I was kind of wanting to use this. So I think I'm going to go ahead, and you can use glue dots or you can use dimensionals to put the hat on, and I'm going to use dimensionals. So I'm just going to add, and you can decorate these any way you want. It does show you the picture, so you could follow that. And I know I am going to go back here. So there is one with a hat, because although it does have a Happy Halloween, which we could also stamp. And then this one here that I'm showing you, I followed this one. So we'll kind of do like the hat, and with the, they did it the long way, so we can do that. Because remember, if you're using glue dots, you can take those off. So it's just a little tip for you. So we'll just turn this around. So it looks like they have a little pumpkin, the small one, about right here. So again, we're going to bring in a glue dot. And we will add this to our hat. They have the little ornate cutout here. So we're going to take this and we're going to just put it right under here. And I'm going to raise that up because I think I'm going to put it up a little bit. So I'm going to leave this off the hat, and I think I will add this first. Now, you can add this with glue dots, or if you're going to add it with, if you have adhesive, do not use, if you use the multi-purpose glue, then it will be a little sticky. But if you want to use glue, the fine tip glue pen, it dries clear and not sticky. But we'll just go ahead, and I think we can use a glue dot. And I'm going to put 2, 1 on each end. All right. And now I'm going to add an extra glue dot on the hat because make sure that it is sticky. And then we're going to add, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in, because I want to do one like it shows in the instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp "Have a Happy Halloween." And then I can use my other banner for another cracker box or for a card. There we go. Okay. And I think I'm going to pop up our "Have a Happy Halloween," our sentiment. So I'm going to bring in the small glue dots. I'm going to put 3. Take off the backs. Okay, I've done that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this right here. And it looks like from our instructions we have a little flower. So I'm going to bring in one of the flowers, and I will attach that right here with a glue dot. When I use a glue dot, I like to bring the image to the glue dot. It's easier that way. Make sure we can see our sentiment. All right, here we have one of our cracker boxes, and then we can bring in, let's pretend that we have it filled with some goodies. Bring in our twine, and we are ready to tie this other end. So here we go. Here is one of the cracker box, and here's the one that I made earlier. So we have 2. Now let's look at some alternative cards. So for my first alternative card, what I did, I took Cajun Craze and I made a card base. So I cut 8.5 by 5.5, folded, scored and folded in half. And then I took Whisper White, and that would be 5 1/4 by 4. And then in your paper pumpkin, you have a little one, a leaf. So I used Old Olive, and I just stamped and went ahead and made kind of like some DSP with this leaf. So now I'm going to put this together. What I did here, I went ahead and took one of the cracker boxes, and I just cut a rectangle out, and that's what I'm going to use. And then the sentiment that we didn't use on the cracker box a second ago, I'm going to go ahead and use that and pop that up on here. And we're going to decorate with some pumpkins from our paper pumpkin kit and the cat. So let's go ahead and put this together. So I'm going to go ahead and attach our layer on our base card. And make sure it's even before I press it down. And then I think I'm going to do like maybe the cat's walking like in like a little bit in a pumpkin patch. And then we will put this right here. So we can use glue dots or we can use adhesive. And I'm just going to bring in my silicone mat and add in some Stampin' Seal Plus. And you could pop these up with dimensionals. You could use glue dots. And I am going to pop up the cat. So I'm going to bring in some dimensionals. And I think for the tail, I'm going to snip a little bit to make my dimensional smaller so it doesn't show. And then we'll turn it over to make sure that's true. I think that's it's like it's, I need to bring it down just a little bit. Okay, let me take the caps off, or the tops off the dimensionals. Okay, let's turn him over and add him to our card. And I think we will just add adhesive, put this banner and remember there's never any mistakes in crafting. So I didn't get this exactly centered, so that's no problem. I'll just put a flower or something right here. Let's go ahead and pop this up. Take the backs off. And I'm going to put it in the space where we don't have our leaves, so kind of, all right, and then let's take out a flower to add to that. So we have orange flowers, pumpkin pie, and maybe cinnamon cider, and bumblebee. So I've taken a bumblebee, and I'm going to use a glue dot and just add that right there next to our sentiment. And here's our first alternative card, Trick or Treat, Spooky and Sweet. Okay, let's look at the second one. So I was playing around. Remember I told you to keep these little diamond shape. So I was playing around with them, and I came up with kind of a flower. So let me show you the card. It's not quite finished yet, but we're going to finish it. So again, I used Cajun Craze for the card base, and I made 2 flowers and added some of the curlicue decorations, and then I used a bumblebee ribbon, and then I stamped Give Thanks, and look what happened. You can't really see the S very well, but like I said, when we're stamping and crafting, no mistakes. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. I'm going to add this, and then we'll put Give Thanks right on top of there. Okay, and again, I'm going to just use glue dots because the Give Thanks will cover that up. So if I just have to make sure that the glue dot is covering some of the cardstock, since this is very delicate and fancy. So we'll put this right here. And it looks like, I think maybe we need a little bit of glue. So we're going to bring in our fine tip glue, because I'm not sure the glue dot is going to. So I am just going to add some. And this glue does dry clear, and it won't be sticky. I love the Tomboy or the green glue, as I sometimes call it, but it does dry clear, but it would be sticky. Sometimes you just need to press that down and hold it a little bit. And remember that you do want to, I like to put my finger right here, so when I put the cap back on, make sure that's lined up. And you want to do that right away after you use it, your fine tip glue. Okay, let's pop up our Give Thanks using some dimensionals, and you can see on the back I stamped, but I wasn't happy with that, so 3 times a charm, I guess. All right, and now I'm going to make sure that we have it centered. And here's our second alternative card. So again, card base, and I will add a layer Whisper White inside so you can write on it. Give Thanks, and I made 2 flowers using the extra diamond shape. Of course, I could have turned it over either side you can use, because it's both sides are colorful. So this is the second. Now, if you want to just pause the video so you can see how to make this, that's fine. That will work. Okay, let me show you the third card. For the next card, I was looking at this and like, what can I do? Well, this top portion looked like a fence to me. So I played around with it, did some cutting, and this is what I came up with. I used, this part is from our July Summer Nights paper pumpkin, and this is the fence that I came up with. So it was like a pumpkin patch, and then added the cat up on the fence, and then Trick or Treat, Spooky and Sweet, of course, is one of our sentiments this month. And then I embossed using white embossing powder, and I used the black for the card base to kind of go with the cat and the sentiment. So what do you think? I kind of like how this one turned out. And then I'm going to show you, I'll need to put together the fourth one. So this is the third alternative, and I have one more to share with you. So I have a Whisper White card base, and I'm bringing in Night of Navy for a layer, and I just barely cut it so you just see a little bit of the Whisper White around the Night of Navy. And then I decided to use the cobweb embossing folder. And I cut a layer of Cajun Craze 5 1/4 by 4, and I ran it through our cut and emboss machine using the cobweb embossing. So I'm going to lay that right on top here. But before I glue that down, I did have some of this left over from when I made the fence. So I'm going to bring this in, and notice that it already has a fold right here. So I'm going to kind of use it like sometimes I use ribbon, and I'm going to fold it right there, and then I'm going to adhere that on the back. As soon as I find my silicone sheet. All right, here's my silicone mat. And I'm going to put some adhesive. I'm just going to fold that right there. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I didn't go ahead and fold this one yet. So it is going to overlap, but it will be covered up. Or I could go ahead and trim that also. So I'm going to fold this down. Make sure that it's even. And I think what I'm going to do to make sure is that I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive right here. There we go. Now I can turn that over. And I could have used this side of the Cajun Craze, but I decided to use this side. So either side you can use. Okay. So let me go ahead and add our first layer. And I am going to use a liquid, especially since I'm going to need to make sure that it's cut so close to the card base that I want to give myself a little bit of room to make sure that I have white showing around all 4 sides. And that liquid does give me a little bit of a leeway where I have a little bit of time. Okay, and now we're going to add this layer. And I think I will just bring in my Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm going to hold it on the left-hand side just to give myself time to look and make sure that's where I want it. Okay, and then press down. And then I have already punched out a circle. I think it was 2 1/4 is what the circle punch. And then I stamped the hat, and I went ahead and used Stampin' Blends to color that. But I think I'm going to add, I just feel like it's missing something. So I think we could add the Cajun Craze, we could add Night of Navy around here, around the edge, but I'm going to go ahead and use Cajun Craze. So I'm going to bring in one of our daubers, and I do like to put what color I'm going to use around, just so I know I can use it later. So we're just going to flick some color on here. And you can do this with a sponge but it also works well with the daubers. I just kind of like to put it before I start, when I put more ink on it, to go ahead and just kind of daub it down here. Otherwise, sometimes I get a circle or that I don't really want on my cardstock. So this just, I think, just adds a little bit to the image. And you can go back around. You can just do it however much you want. So there isn't any rhyme or reason, just when you think it's good. Okay, let's go ahead and close this. And we are going to add this right here. And then we'll add our sentiment. And I'm going to use glue dots. Excuse me, I'm going to use dimensionals. But I'm going to bring in the larger dimensionals for this. I'm going to put 2 at the top. Oops, sorry. I think I was off camera. And before I do that, I believe I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to add a glue dot to kind of keep this down. Just a little tip. Okay, let me take the tops of these off. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. You can get more information at terryhartley.stampinup.net. And I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. Instead of, I could put this in the middle, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Well, I was going to use this label, but I'm not using the label because this isn't the right label that I had planned on using. So let me bring in the punch. It's Timeless label. And I'm going to bring in Night of Navy. And let's make a new label. This punch is in our annual catalog. Lay that aside. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to emboss. So I'm going to bring in dryer sheet and the Versamark. And we do want to have a happy Halloween. So I will go ahead and ink up our stamp in Versamark, and then I'm going to stamp on our label. I'm going to put the lid back on the Versamark. That's really important. And then I'm using white embossing powder. So I'll just put that right over there. Okay. And then I'm going to put this back. I'm using a coffee filter. You can use paper, you can use lots of different things. I'm going to put the extra embossing powder back in the container. And put our lid back on the embossing powder. All right, let's put that aside. And then you can use whatever you want to, but I like using this little clothespin. So I'm going to heat up our heat tool. I'm our embossing tool for about 10-12 seconds. And I did that off camera so you didn't have to wait. And now we're going to emboss. So I'm just going to move my heating tool, my embossing tool around. And hopefully you can see Halloween has changed. So I'll get better in the light. Okay. All right, we have our label, have our sentiment embossed. Let's bring our card back in. And I'm going to turn this over and add dimensionals. I'm going to add 3 on the back, on each end and the middle. And then I'll take tops off. And we are going to put that right up in the corner. Now what you could do, if you have some white ink, you could take a dauber or a sponge, and you could go ahead and kind of color in this spider web. And if you have a spider stamp, you could stamp that right onto your card. That would look cute. But I like this just like it is. Have a happy Halloween. So let's look at what we've done today. Let me move my mess out of the way. So we have the 2 cracker boxes. So here are the 2 cracker boxes that we made. And here's the first card. Another card. The card with the fence, with the cat on the fence. I think I'm almost running out of room. Maybe I can overlap that a little bit. Because what I'm wanting to know is, which card do you like the best? Because we have 2 with a cat. So do you like the one with the leaves background the best? The one with where I made a fence? The card with the flowers? Or the one with the hat? So let me know which one that you like the best. So these are some alternatives. And you can stop the video and watch how I made them or talked about them so you can recreate them. I hope you enjoy your September paper pumpkin kit. Hello Pumpkin. It's fun, and I know you'll come up with a lot of great ideas too. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.